Welcome to the home of 100 to 1 Faith TV. I'm Larry Gent, and this is the message for Grace Hartwood United Methodist Church on November 8th, Veterans Sunday. The title is Wind Talkers. Our Old Testament scripture from this week is from Deuteronomy 28, verse 49. The Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand. The gospel reading is from John 3, verse 8. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. It is Veterans Sunday at Grace Hartwood, and I want to introduce you to 20 of the most amazing heroes you've probably never heard of. It's a story of the Great War, the war to end all wars, a war that, sadly, we soon came to know as World War I. We began in good military fashion with the commanding officer, Colonel Alfred Bohr. He was born in the year 1876 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but grew up in Austin, Texas. In 1917, he received an appointment as colonel of the 7th Texas Infantry Regiment. The War Department merged the 7th Texas with the 1st Oklahoma Infantry. The new organization became the 142nd Infantry Regiment. This regiment soon found itself on the front lines of France, where Colonel Bohr found he had a problem with communication. It's hard to realize now, but electronic communication was rather new. Then, as now, accurate communication made the difference between life and death. But Colonel Bohr's problem was that the enemy could intercept and understand every word he spoke. What set him apart as a leader was one unusual skill. He listened to his men. Among those recruits he inherited from Oklahoma Infantry were some men no one else wanted. They were from Indian Territory, Choctaws to be exact. By law, they were not even U.S. citizens, but they were proud to volunteer to fight for their native land and proud to be U.S. soldiers. Well, Colonel Bohr overheard two of those Choctaws talking to each other, and he listened, and he couldn't understand a thing they were saying. But then it dawned on him, if he couldn't understand him, then the enemy couldn't understand them either. So Colonel Bohr took another remarkable step. He asked for their help. Together they worked out a code that could translate military terminology from English to Choctaw. They tested their new skills during a battle in 1918 and found that for the first time the stalemate was broken. The enemy did not know what they were doing until it was too late. By placing Choctaw soldiers in every company, the U.S. command was able to communicate freely and openly with no fear of interception. Native American soldiers had become wind talkers. The enemy could hear the wind blowing, but they could not tell what it meant. It was a turning point in the struggle, and it hastened the end of the war. We celebrate the armistice that ended that conflict to this day on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the day we now call Veterans Day. But their influence extended far beyond the field of battle. At the turn of the 20th century, Native people were not generally considered to be part of the fabric of America. Dangerous ghosts of the past, most citizens wanted to forget about them or teach them to blend into the background of the new nation. But sometimes the fires of war can forge bonds of brotherhood that eclipse even those formed in the church. The men who served shoulder to shoulder with these Choctaw heroes could not accept the idea that the original people of this land were still not citizens of the United States. Their testimony, their work, their witness was crucial to the passage of the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924, less than 6 years after the armistice was signed. And although there was still much work to be done to level the playing field for all people, that law affirmed what the Choctaw soldiers already knew, that America was big enough to open her doors to people of all nationalities and all colors, and that we are made stronger when we welcome those who are from a different background, those of a different heritage, who speak a different language than our own. Over and over in scriptures, God promises to bless people who practice hospitality and welcome strangers in their midst. But not all nations followed that call. Out of the ashes of defeat, the dark shadow of Hitler and the Nazi Party soon plunged the world into another great war. You might think they would learn from their mistakes of World War I, but instead they doubled down. Far from opening up to those who were different, they created death camps and gas chambers for those the Führer considered less than human. They trusted their war machines and technology to bring the whole world to its knees. And once again, from far away, God raised up a nation whose language they could not understand to swoop down on them like an eagle. To keep their secrets secure, the Germans trusted a technological marvel, the Enigma machine. They had no idea that their secret code was cracked almost immediately by Marian Rejewski, a Polish mathematician. In 1939, as Hitler prepared to invade Poland, Rejewski turned over his secret to England. Meanwhile, in America, our battlefield secrets were also turned over, this time to Comanche and Navajo code talkers. Soon the wind was blowing with native languages once more. The greatest German minds could never crack that code because it came from the land, not from the lab. It came from people the Führer would never accept. It came from the soul of America. It came from a land that has always known we are stronger together than the sum of our parts. We are more with each other than we are by ourselves. Let the tyrants rage about blitzkriegs and their master race. They cannot break us so long as we have hearts that love the winds of freedom. On this day of sacred remembrance, we cannot forget our true source of strength. We dare not discount those words that welcomed so many of our forebears. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame with conquering limbs, astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name the Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, she cries with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. That spirit of welcome and brotherhood is still the true strength of this land. That bedrock of truth cannot be broken by enemies from beyond our shores. It can only be shattered when we fail to stand shoulder to shoulder and arm in arm with all those who love this land. So today I invite you to remember those who dreamed of the days of peace and freedom you and I now enjoy. Those who let their voices carry the sweet winds of freedom into the fires of battle. Those who came out of that furnace with a bond of brotherhood that could not be broken. I invite you now to call the names of these Choctaw heroes with me one by one. Albert Billy, Mitchell Bob, Victor Brown, Ben Carterby, Benjamin Colbert, George Davenport, Joseph Davenport, James Edwards, Tobias Frazier, Benjamin Hampton, Otis Leader, Pete Maytubby, Jeff Nelson, Joseph Oklahomby, Robert Taylor, Charles Veach, and Calvin Wilson. In their honor, we lift our voices upon the winds today. There will be those who cannot understand, but we lift voices of welcome, sisterhood, and brotherhood that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. In their honor, we resolve to always be stronger together than we could ever be by ourselves. In their honor, we pledge that America will one day be all she was meant to be. Many peoples, but one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Live